Welcome to the Rundown, where we take you right into the action with the latest sports news, updates, game previews, breakdown, and analysis in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. And now, let's get ready to run down! Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
All right, what is up, Blue Eagle Nation? Welcome again to our Wednesday edition of Radyo Katipunan Sports. Again, you're hanging out with me, Anthony, as always. And, of course, Happy New Year to us all over here in Loyola Heights. And Happy New Year and to our Atenean Arnisadors, of course, my good friends from the Ateneo Arnis team. We have Coach Daniel Bernas, one half of part Team Dandinelli, and host and the man behind Usapang Arnis. As always, glad to have you, Daniel. And of course, over to my left, Jude, the meme queen / the canine queen, coming from her Facebook post, Rodriguez. Of course, our 2019 SEA Games medalist. Again, good to have you both over here. It's been quite some time, diba? I see both of you have been medyo busy lang naman over. Of course, we're friends on social media and stuff. So, Daniel over here, of course, we all know him as a YouTuber, but Daniel has recently discovered TikTok.
Oh, no.
And sige nga, Daniel, you were recently sharing some tips on TikTok. Ito sa mga aspiring Arnisadors dyan, how to get your black belt faster daw. Pati yung marami kang when did you start posting all of this stuff?
I just started this year, as in like New Year talaga. But, I'm just having fun. I don't really know what I'm doing.
Mukha nga. As for Jude naman, well, if you follow Jude on, social media, you get all sorts of stuff, diba? But, of course, we have to congratulate Jude, not only on her SEA Games medal, no, pero on her successful wisdom tooth extraction.
Oh my God.
Lima, diba?
You posted it on FB stories.
Yeah, I had 5 taken up. 4 wisdom teeth, 1 tooth.
4?
Yeah.
Oh my
4
God.
wisdom teeth and 1
Tooth. Yeah, because I've been holding off taking out the wisdom teeth. So one of the tooth teeth. Like, oh my God, I can't even.
Teeth, basta yun.
Yeah, a tooth got hawa.
Oh.
And it was just broken into pieces. It had an infection pa.
Oh,
It's
damn.
nasty.
Like, for me, 1 is enough.
Yeah.
Once na mabunutan ka, kasi tama na yun.
Yeah.
Wow, 5 out of 5. Good job,
It's an
100%. Buti walang do-overs kasi hindi.
Yeah.
Hindi naman.
Actually, I think my dentist was pretty good. And even the aftercare, because I didn't blow it up into a chipmunk. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Diba, parang na-save naman yung ni Jude, yung ipon niya. Ay, Daniel, can you just move over konti lang over here para kita kayo. Okay. And of course, si Jude rin, been following her prep for the SEA Games. She has had loads of free stuff ever since she has joined the national team.
yeah, A6.
Okay, so shout out to A6 for sponsoring our Team Pilipinas Arnis. Anyway, so speaking of our national team, our team Pilipinas and Arnis. And beyond that, I'm talking collectively of all our Pinoy athletes who represented us in the 2019 Southeast Asian Games. We have 540 events in 56 sports. I think this was the largest ever
Yeah, it is.
Philippine contingent for the SEA Games. We had 56 sports, 63 disciplines pa yun. And of course, we ended the decade as the top team in Southeast Asian sports. We just absolutely dominated this edition. And of course, when we dropped the curtains right here at home, we finished with a grand total of 149 golds, 117 silvers, and 121 bronze medals. We actually bested, for all those listening to us right now, we actually bested the 112 gold medal mark that we obtained over at the 2005 edition of the SEA Games, which we last hosted. No, pero like Jude, no, to this day, just to be part of that, 5,630 plus athletes who participated in the games. That had to be the highlight of your, I don't know, 2019.
Yeah, pretty much.
Diba?
Yeah.
Or even the highlight, kasi 2020, speaking of this is a new decade for all of us, diba? Yeah. Parang this had to be like, in your...
It was a good way to end the year. You could say that, yeah.
But how is it like yung rubbing elbows with different nationalities, all sorts of athletes and everything?
It was nothing na was new to me naman. So it was actually good because everyone was a good sport. Like there was no bitterness naman, or the bad attitude after the game. Right. So after the game we'd go up to each other, hug each other, and say oh, see you in 2021.
Okay.
And all that, yeah.
So they're looking forward to it at that moment na agad. Okay, all right. But of course, our SEA Games, it had some early mishaps, plus a threat of a looming typhoon, diba? Though, parang all of this was, for us spectators, and even part of yung broadcast pool for it, parang these were all momentarily forgotten, diba? As soon as the games opened with this, this is spectacular opening ceremony at the Philippine Arena, diba? Parang just full of color, music, and then performances. Plus, you had these, legendary Philippine athletes carrying the flag and everything, diba? Pero, like, for you Arnisadors, especially Daniel, no, there was this, I think the highlight of that opening ceremony had to be yung demonstration of Filipino martial arts, such as Eskrima, Kali, Arnis, diba? Which featured sa opening. See, Daniel, I know you've done your fair share of Arnis demonstrations in the past.
Actually, when I saw that, sobrang na-impress nga ako. It was a really well-made performance. Ang ganda talaga.
Diba?
But Jude got to see it live, I assume, no? Since, diba?
So,
that would I can only imagine what that might have been like. Pero ang ganda talaga when I saw it live.
Like, pero, basing it from your experience of doing these demonstrations, parang, what did you see them like really mesh together so well to make it like a world-class performance?
I think it was, because I'm accustomed to the type of performances na it's more on the competitive side. So, isang tao lang, just a couple of people. And you're trying to win something, diba? But this kind of performance, it was really just something that was celebrating the art. So it had a different vibe to it, and more so it was kind of put together in such a way na parang theatrical siya. Diba? You had the lights, you had the music. So it was, I think it was one of the fancier displays I've seen so far. All
right. And for Jude naman, like seeing that up close and personal, diba? It was something else.
Actually, I was the coordinator for it because everyone who wasn't going to to SEA Games, yung Team B, sila yung nag-perform. All 22 of them, including 3 coaches. And the whole time, they've been practicing since the end of October, and I was their coordinator, so I'd be with them at every rehearsal. And I had to be the one to coordinate with 5 Currents, which was the one that organized the whole thing.
Right.
So, I think it was just a really proud moment to see it there happening, because I know the struggle of my teammates. I saw them struggling. I saw them because the rehearsals were all the way in Philippine Arena, every other day.
Wow.
For 8 hours, sometimes it'd reach 10 hours.
That long.
Here, diba?
Yeah.
So pabalik.
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly.
Grabe naman. I don't think si Daniel in your previous parang preparations for your demonstrations. Hindi ganun, no?
Yeah, it was crazy. But then I think a lot of it has to do then with the organizers mismo. I mean, I expected it as well because they were the ones who organized the Rio Olympics, the Paralympics, all the way from 2005. They were the ones behind it. So,
I see. And they really just
outdid themselves.
But talaga, if that's the term for it, yun. And speaking about the Philippine Arnis national team, where of course Jude was fortunate to be part of, and which kami ni Daniel, diba, we were fortunate to witness, diba, yung mga former teammates mo. It was just a golden run for Arnis' comeback dito sa Southeast Asian Games. And for you, Jude, kayo, you did it just, it's beyond doing it justice as the country's de facto national sport, di ba? Kasi you delivered a staggering 14 gold medals for Team Pilipinas. That's the biggest, I'm talking the biggest single sport haul of any country. Of any country in this edition of the Southeast Asian Games. Jude, doesn't looking back at your time with Daniel and everyone in Ateneo Arnis, doesn't that boggle your mind a bit?
It does, to be able to reach this far.
Diba?
When we first met, like the most I could think about reaching was world championships, maybe national champion, or maybe Philippine national games. But then to actually join the SEA Games and to be part of something this historic, it's something that I never dreamed of.
Right.
So now that it's come to fruition, it's something else.
Diba? Like, sige, we'll just move over to the left, sige, konti lang, para kita naman si Daniel when he's gonna... Yan, perfect. Now, Daniel, diba, looking back at Jude, you go way back with her. I remember, diba, coming from the World Championships before, 2 years ago na.
Yeah, my God.
Parang did you ever think that Jude, diba, would reach that, that level of success, diba, right now? Hindi raw. Okay, sige. Tama.
Hindi naman. Kasi even then naman when we did the World Championships, parang we were talking about how the experience was. And I think that's when I really got to see how determined talaga siya to like really succeed and all that. So it's not really much of a surprise that she got that far.
Right. Vote of confidence from Coach Dan.
Iwan sa libre lang kasi. Joke lang.
Pero I noticed, parang ang sabi nila, the original magic number, that the prediction for Team Pilipinas Arnis was 12 podium toppers to begin with. Diba? Because he had about siguro 20 gold medals on the line, no? Pero parang si Senator Zubiri, in some of his interviews, parang he already mentioned that there's some degree of pressure out there, diba, on your part to deliver. But at the same time, he was also giving his vote of confidence in the full roster. Pero I just want to know, among the members of the team, parang were you talking about, parang there's this sense of pressure nga, but you at the back of your minds, you knew that it was gonna be there, diba? But you just had to just prepare for it na lang.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang ganun lang diba? Pero like going through training camp and everything, how did you just sort of psych yourselves for it, just mentally prepare for it?
I think it's with the pressure that Arnis isn't a permanent sport in the SEA Games yet. So we wanted to perform well, and we wanted to have a good outcome in general.
Right.
So seeing this would inspire Vietnam to host Arnis again in the 2021 SEA Games. So by the time that it's 2023 and it's Cambodia's turn, like we're already a permanent sport.
Yeah.
So there's that. I mean, as poetic as it sounds, like it is for the future of Arnis.
Okay.
But also that there was a 14, if I'm not mistaken, year break since the last Arnis SEA Games. So that on its own was a premium that we were all running after. I mean, it wasn't really about the incentives. It was more about the honor, like to have said that, like, we're the pioneer. I mean, going back to the establishment of PECAF, like as the new NSA, right? So kumbaga, we're the pioneer team, and we're the pioneer athletes for SEA Games, and to have that honor then. And a lot of us, we don't really like psych ourselves with pressure. Like we're gonna be pahiya naman. It's more of it was actually in the final moments before the fight started that we could all just we all had this sense of brotherhood and sisterhood, that we were just like helping each other, and it wasn't really for para to sa future mo. It was more of like, this is for the team, to see a future for the team. So
Right. That was Daniel, diba? Parang comparing this to, of course, parang when you say WCAF World Championships, parang you're probably that is the grandest stage of martial arts, diba? When you're talking about, Arnis, Kali, Eskrima. Pero when it comes to, hosting it at the Southeast Asian Games, parang hindi ba, ano yun, parang, don't we automatically parang, oh, we have an edge kasi national martial art na natin to eh. Wala bang sense na ganun, tingin mo?
Well, for me naman, like we were talking about that vote of confidence na 12 out of 20 medals. Ako personally, like, I was like rooting for like way more than that kasi in terms of but that's of course from my personal, diba? In terms of my personal opinion, parang mataas talaga tingin ko sa current national team. And honestly, like in terms comparing if they were to also compete in championships such as yung sa WECA championships, I think they'd like excel there as well.
Yeah. Tapos kasi like knowing the field of competition, ha. Parang of course you, diba, you've gone through the world championships before. Parang like what does a fighter at this level of competition have to have in terms of yung technique, skill? What does he have to have, down pat to be successful at least at the Southeast Asian Games level?
I think the difference between the training that they did compared to the kind of background that I have, kasi yun nga, at the time that we were competing, this whole nationals and the PECAF, they were all still kind of being established, parang bago pa. But now we've kind of reached a point where we have a legitimate national team that, and like yung mga athletes nga such as Jude, they go to training on a regular basis. Right. They have their own salary, may schedule sila. So the training is a lot more serious. And so at that level nga nung like games like the SEA Games, since yung nga, the expectations there are a little bit more different since the eyes on you aren't just Arnis Adors. It's kind of like the whole country na, diba? Kasi parang sama-sama tayo doon.
Tama.
And so I would say that these are the peak athletes at the moment.
Sure. Then I think, Jude, parang even way before the games, I think the toughest opposition daw, parang, among, I've gone through some research behind it, parang it was the Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang, and I think the Vietnamese already sent, parang a training team to Cebu, diba? As early as parang October pa.
Yeah, a month before, they were already training in Cebu with the best. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, they went around sparring with the best teams in Cebu. I mean, I think we all know naman din na there are a lot of powerhouses in Cebu din.
Sure.
So, they experienced all of that. So, which, I mean, it kind of scared us, pero not enough to phase us naman. I mean, it's just na, okay, they're getting more experience. But then, I mean, if you think about it, even though they're getting the experience now, and even if they're, we believe that humans are, vicarious learners, and they're gonna pick it up like a sponge, we can't discount the fact that the lot of us have experience.
Right.
I mean, they can be strong now, but then we have years and years of experience.
Sure.
A lot of us started a decade ago pa. So yeah.
Right. Parang have you ever parang encountered Vietnamese fighters before? Like even in some sparring sessions before the Southeast Asian Games?
No.
Or this would be like
This would be the first.
all right.
Yeah.
Pero parang without, given parang they were pegging them as okay, they're gonna be tough opposition, but you guys were confident naman, like basing on kind of like world championships na kayo, diba? So parang that alone in itself, parang you know that hey, meron tayong papantapat sa kanila, diba? And here's a little known fact that ngayon ko lang nalaman. The International Arnis Federation pala is in fact based in the Queen City of the South.
Yeah, Cebu.
So parang ikaw, Jude, diba? Parang doesn't that give you a bit of extra pride na parang, hey, Cebu represent, diba? Yeah. My sports governing body is
based in Cebu.
In your hometown, diba? And parang was training camp ever stationed over there?
No, not at all. We were just in Rizal Memorial Stadium, and that was every day. Like, no break days. Starting mga September ba yun or October, we didn't even have Saturdays.
Off?
Yep.
Not one day off?
Yeah. We'd have tune-up games kasi with other schools, other organizations. Because we kind of reached the point na we sparred with each other too much na we can just predict it. So it's not a challenge. So we had to go out, experience other figures. Yeah.
Kinikwento nila sa'yo yun, Daniel.
Yeah, that's what I meant ka na parang yung the training that's required for this is like seryoso talaga every day,
And
fully
imagine.
committed. Parang as the way I understood it's pretty much a full-time job na for
Yeah.
them.
it
Yeah,
is.
ganun.
Yeah.
Pero, I mean, it being a full-time job, parang, it would take like, parang how many hours in a day would you, parang commit to serious non-stop training?
MWF, it would be something like 4 hours a day. Wait, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Tuesday, Thursday would be 7 to 8 hours a day.
Uh-huh.
And then Saturdays, it depends on how long the tune-up games go.
Okay.
But then even after that, it's just a psychological thing to just not
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
So it's like ako din mismo, like I'd still run or I'd still go to the gym. I'd still get extra conditioning training.
Right.
On Sundays as well, I don't rest. So technically, like we never rest. My
Wow.
teammates as well, they keep running like 7, 8K
Oh,
every
man.
day. Yeah.
Well, pero like touching off from what Jude said, Daniel, no, how much sparring is too much sparring to the point that it doesn't become a challenge at all na parang, oh, you can predict moves at, di ba? Like 2 steps in advance already.
I think with them kasi I think one of the things that they kind of as a matter of kind of protection and also like making sure nobody gets injured, they really have to limit their sparring amongst themselves. Paminsan-minsan lang sila they'll meet with other players
All right.
and things like that.
All right.
So I think that comes with the territory then of being in the national team. Now we have to be a little bit careful. But at the same time, if you keep sparring with the same people, you read off their moves, masasanay ka. So that's the trade-off there.
Right. Pero this was already the final roster na, no, Jude, the final 20. That was
Yeah.
doing the,
We had the
non-stop thing.
qualifiers first week of August.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from there, we split into our different specializations. Because prior to the qualifiers, because there are 40 of us in the team, right? So all 40 would train for live stick, padded stick, and
Okay.
anyo, all at the same time. Then we go through strength and conditioning at the same time.
Right.
But then after qualifiers, we split off na with their different coaches. And then Team B naman, they were also asked to choose a specialization.
Okay.
So yun, Team B, they were the training partners. So
Right.
actually a lot of our wins, it's not just sa coaches namin, it's due to them as well.
Right.
Kasi they were dummies. Like, sila yung pinapalo palagi, dinidisarm palagi.
You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I know naman na it wasn't as easy for them as well. So for them to be able, for them to be that strong for us and to
Yeah.
push us always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just it really paid dividends kasi diba, you made it your intention to just go for the overall championship right from opening day, and you guys never look back. Diba, kita natin Dexter Bulambao just sped off at that. I think his win gave the country its 10th gold at that point in the competition, when he bested his opponent from Burma at the men's bantamweight full contact final.
Yeah.
Remember that? So that added to the Philippines gold medal haul. Pero like, of course, parang watching these events live, of course, and I believe si Daniel din, we were following it on social media and everything, no? Buti na lang may ganon. Pero of course, to the untrained eye, Arnis, it's something that's brutal, diba? It's something that's frenzied. But of course, talking with you guys for a couple of years now, parang you come to an understanding that behind this chaos that you witness on the mat, there's this deep tradition that goes back hundreds of years, diba? And talking with you guys again, I've gained a pretty serious appreciation, for the deep historical roots of the discipline. I've even read some interviews ni Senator Zubiri. He was talking about it's lapu-lapu's martial art and everything. So okay, fine, I get it. Pero of course, any sporting event, you guys been to the World Championships before. Any sporting event wouldn't be complete without the presence of spectators. Syempre, diba? And even, diba, pero watching Arnis kasi, some contests just last a few minutes.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang it's fast and furious. It's a high octane combat sport. Diba? And parang you witness players in body armor and helmets and everything. And then yun nga, it's very unforgiving. It's very brutal. Pero how is I just want to know kasi kanina we were talking about the venue, Angeles University Foundation. Parang was there enough, like kayo Judah, when you guys were competing, was there enough crowd appeal, crowd response right there at the venue?
Yeah, earlier. So around the start and the end of the men's weight division,
Right.
like there was a lot. It was packed. But then of course people started to go home therein, and I think we ended around 8 or 9 p.m. So by then, I think half of the stadium was evacuated na. So, I mean, and the only people left were our teammates and yung mga family and all that, and some spectators pa.
Right.
So, but yeah, it didn't kill our vibe. Because for us,
Okay.
women's, we were at the point where we couldn't even just look at the spectators for support. Kasi diba usually oh my god guys, cheer for me, like make me feel better. But at that point, it's like you can't hear them. They're just white noise. Kasi it's like your heartbeat, kasi that's what's like, it's the only thing you hear. Yeah. So I could only really hear them after my game. Like for me, personally, I could only really hear them after.
Okay.
Pero they were cheering. A lot of them, even yung si Jordan, after a month pa sila nag-recover sa paos. Kasi all out yung sigaw nila.
Yeah.
Especially yung sa women's division, kasi they were the only ones left na super all out. I mean, you can't expect the parents then to cheer like like them.
Syempre naman. Pero Daniel, diba? Of course, when people come to the venues, like I got this from other martial arts events during the SEA Games, na parang you don't expect audiences who come in there to know every technique that's being thrown out. You don't expect them to have this very educated sense of what's going on, diba? Parang bakbakan, diba? Okay yan, bugbugan yan. Pero parang, I mean, does it just for them to go 80 kilometers northwest from Manila to at least, see Arnis up close and personal live, diba? That sort of parang helps the sport in a way, kahit pa paano.
And I think it also adds na the fact that it was live streamed.
Yun.
You could see that thousands of people were watching, people were acting, people were commenting, and you can tell these were people who were not organizadors, they were not martial artists, but they somehow had a stake in it. They were rooting for the Filipinos. You could see them making comments. You can also see them trying to understand what the hell is happening. Pero it was nice to see na there were eyes on the sport, as opposed to like when we went to the World Championships, other tournaments, the only people who knew what was happening were the people who were there. Pero to talagang thousands of Filipinos were watching, so it was nice.
Pero parang at least getting the numbers in. I mean, in terms of spectators, that does help quite a lot, diba, Jude?
Yeah.
Parang, of course, again, we don't expect them to understand everything that's going on. But the fact that, hey, at least they're showing some interest in it.
Yeah.
Diba?
It's a first step.
To
help Arnis then.
And it's a big step at that.
For the longest time, I think we shared it before naman, na the struggle has been for Arnis to be like such an underdog sport.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So now at least with the overall medal haul and then the live streams nga, they really help.
Yeah.
I mean, the comments were comical, but I mean, I could see the struggle with them, especially sa live stick. Kasi, diba, it's not as clear kung ano yung basis. Pero padded and were easier kasi they were objective.
Yeah.
But live stick kasi subjective. So I could see the comments. I mean, I didn't bother commenting back, but I could see the comments.
Wag na.
Yung favorite comment sa parang sabong.
Ano sabong?
Oh, yeah. And I could see what they mean.
Okay, sige. Pero like I would given the opportunity, parang if there would be this international Arnis competition or something, basta a big competition out there. Parang I would love to do the play-by-play for it, and maybe Daniel could join me as an analyst for it. Di ba? Maganda.
That'd be fun.
Kung may live stream noon
The
ulit.
World Championships are in July. It's in Cebu lang.
Yun nga. We'll get to that later. Yo, pick up if you're ever listening to us. Sige na, please. Anyways, of course, alam naman natin, Jude, you and your teammates, and Daniel, being Arnisadors, you're fiercely proud of, diba, the heritage of it. This is something that's innately Pinoy, diba? And it's a sport that symbolizes is the spirit of battle, revolution, all of that. And if we're going to go through some highlights of the tournament, I think that warrior spirit was fully embodied by a certain Filipino martial artist who was even, and Jude is very familiar with this, so is Daniel, Filipino martial artist was even prepared to give up his chance of winning a SEA Games title because he didn't want to wear, pardon the interruption, but underpants, especially beneath his traditional loincloth. And that had to mean a lot because Chris Samuel Delfin is indeed a very proud Igorot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Kaylin Yugyog would agree with that. Diba? But of course, Chris Samuel Delfin ended up winning the gold medal in the men's Arnis Anyok category after he performed his combat skills to the tune of parang meron pang ethnic instruments, diba? May ganun pa. And he was dressed in, boy, he looked impressive. You guys can Google that, diba? He looked ready for battle.
All of them did.
Tattoos, diba? Headdress and everything. Like, Daniel, again, going back to demonstrations like this, no? Can you think of another grand display ng national pride, cultural pride by a Filipino arnesador of this parang magnitude?
Yeah, actually, yun nga, when I watched that, so I'm impressed ako because it wasn't just a display of skill. There was stage presence. There was some theatrics. You could see that it was a performance that was really well planned for, and you could like feel the emotions behind.
Right.
Diba? That's in comparison to when you watch competitions, you can see that the competitors are demonstrating skill, and you can see their skill. Ito medyo nafe-feel mo talaga it was different.
Yeah,
So I was really
much.
impressed.
Yeah, sure. That was Jude. Again, in some interviews, no, Senator Zubir was talking about because Chris Samuel Delfin was super proud of his heritage. Diba? It caused some problems with him wanting to, wear the bahag without anything underneath. But what were you guys talking about when he was, trying to wrestle with this decision? Were you trying to convince him in any way? Sige na,
Honestly, it was just between him and Senator kasi.
Yun lang.
Yeah, because the whole struggle came around the night before the opening ceremony.
Okay.
So it was at such a short time. So if I'm not mistaken, the compromise that they had was to just have him wear a thong.
Yeah.
Which I saw being flung around. But yeah, he ended up wearing the thong.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I understand din the organizers naman kasi of course under international spotlight, they're worried about some slips and all that. But then of course, but of course the confidence is with Sam kasi even in Baguio pa lang, they really perform in that. I mean, majority of the players from Baguio na nag-aanyo talaga, they really perform in bahag.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you go there during a tournament, everyone's in a bahag. The women are in the parang something akin to the bahag.
Right.
Din. So yeah.
Okay. But Daniel, diba, parang we get it. Like officials were, they were ruling based on technicality. Na parang, of course, we're trying to keep everything PG. Diba? We're in front of live audiences. We don't want any wardrobe malfunction, so to speak. Pero parang, do you think na, given that this guy was, parang he was really, passionate about demonstrating his culture and his, Igorot heritage, parang, do you think that parang maybe they could have given him a bit of leeway at that, or parang
it's such a tough
yun nga eh.
Diba? On the one hand, syempre, you don't want any incidents. But on the other hand, diba, it's also a matter of respecting the culture. Because if I'm not mistaken, parang it's not right to wear underwear under the...
Yeah,
parang
it's
ganun
really
daw.
not.
Something like that.
Diba parang pero at least diba yung compromise was reached at the end of it, no? Pero again parang was this parang among the team, no? Parang was did you have a feeling na parang sayang naman if he wasn't able to compete at all kasi parang I think the coach was even saying it's better just maybe disqualify him na lang rather than him, parang sort
having to compromise for being who he is,
Yun. Pero yun nga parang in the end, parang Senator Zubiri was saying na parang magaling naman siya. So parang sayang naman kung ma-disqualify.
And his hard work, I mean, the amount of injuries he got I mean, I think around SEA Games, he was still recovering then. Because for him and the other girl, si Mary Aldeguer, they both had injuries kasi palipad-lipad nga, diba?
Yun.
So all the stunts, like, sa training pa lang, they had to struggle. I mean, even if they were kind of disabled, they'd still train pa rin, the exact same stunts.
Right.
So for them to just give it up, for something as minuscule as that issue,
Okay.
diba?
It's a bit trivial, so to speak. Okay.
So yun.
Right. Pero again, continuing with the tournament, no, I think Chris Samuel Delfin also added another goal to his tally by edging out Vietnam's Van Huynh Ngo for gold. At tapos Mary Aldin Aldeguer also, they swept the Anyo open weapon. Non-traditional event category. But of course, Jude and I were talking before we went on air. No, as for our Arnisadoras, there were many points of struggle, throughout the tournament before you could finally end up as champions. I think one of those was, si May Busakay. She failed to advance to the semifinal round. Yeah. She dropped her match against Phet Yo of Myanmar. And I think parang at that day, I think this was day 2 of the tournament. They won.
Yes.
They won. Next 2 losses were heartbreakers, so to speak.
Yeah.
Eza Rayalong.
Yeah.
Okay. She was previously declared the winner of her match against Venonosita C of Cambodia. But again, this was a bit controversial. Judges reviewed the video of their match following a protest made by the Cambodian
coach
Cambodian camp.
Yes.
And in the video, the jurors saw that itong na si Vienna Susita C, she landed the more telling blow, supposedly daw, on Eza Rai Yalong. And again, that hurt a lot because that deprived Eza of,
going
a gold
to the
medal.
championships, yeah.
Daniel, what exactly could judges have been looking at here to end up reversing? I mean, to end up reversing the outcome of a match. Speaking of telling blows, parang how could you tell how could you parang say, okay, that's a more convincing blow, so to speak? Parang hirap.
Like, if I'm gonna be frank about it, it also felt off to me. Kasi if I'm not mistaken, the decision was unanimous.
Yes.
Yun.
So if all 3 judges agreed that she won, I don't see how all 3 of those judges would all be reversed after a review.
Yeah, after an hour.
So I really don't know how to answer your question, considering that it was unanimous. And then afterwards, I joke.
Like me, kahit ako parang I don't even know how to.
But it would have made more sense if it was like a split decision.
Yeah.
Then they
Actually,
reviewed
yeah.
it and wait, diba? Pero for a unanimous decision to be reversed, that felt off to me. So I really don't know how to answer the question of what they could have seen.
And Eza must have been really bummed out
I
about
was with
it.
her. I was one of the first few people that went down with her sa second level. Then she was screaming at the top of her lungs. She was crying. She was thrashing. And I understand why. I mean, not to compare losses naman and emotions, no? Pero, it's something kasi was given to you then taken back as opposed to you just lost it.
Oo.
Diba?
Mas masakit eh.
Oo. Not to mention kasi, I think lang siguro, I understand why it became controversial. Kasi walang pasabi naman sa media kung what happened. So,
okay.
yeah.
There was a lack of transparency.
So, I understand why those articles showed up and why like all those Facebook posts circulated, no? Kasi the newscasters kasi they weren't told what happened. So, what you saw was what you got. Diba? So, what people saw was na-reverse, but why? So, I think lang din siguro, it would have been good to give some transparency to the media. Kasi we don't want naman something as controversial as that, like, going around, diba?
Yeah, sure. And of course, the last one to bow out that day was, of course, our Inisadora here to my left, Jude Rodriguez, who went the extra round with Myanmar's La New A.
Vietnam.
Oh, okay, Vietnam pala. And unfortunately, it ended up in a draw. Now I finally understand why Jude Rodriguez wasn't responding to my text message before. But anyways, Jude, parang I was reading that your game plan sort of shifted down. You were trying to become more. Well, this is what articles say. Na, you were trying to become more defensive-minded now in the extra session. Like, what was your plan of approach? Ba? What was your plan of attack against her? Parang going through that in that extra round.
I am unsure.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer that because I think there was just a part of me, after the third round, like to anyone watching, I actually looked super cocky na after because I thought I won.
Did you see that, Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was because my teammates were cheering for me, right? And then we have this plan kasi to go to Tagaytay and all that. So like they were screaming like Tagaytay, and then ako naman I was cheering with them because I really thought, and around when they called it a draw, like I mean I already took off na nga my armor.
So confident na talaga.
Yeah, I was super confident. So that was my fault.
Okay.
So I admit na rin, I tried to change my game plan around the fourth match. I tried to make it a bit more akin to padded stick.
Okay.
And para naman na I still have a hit and she doesn't hit back. That was what I was trying to do. Kasi di ba part of the judges rating would be who has more hits. So
right.
if I hit her once, go away, she doesn't hit back, that would still be mine.
As opposed to yung paramihan ng strikes that is the usual strategy.
If they called naman the draw that way na I gave it na all out ng paluan na sabayan ko
Okay,
diba?
yeah.
If that didn't work, I tried to do something else for the fourth round. But then I don't know na lang din, maybe the judges weren't happy with that na it didn't seem to work, diba? So I guess that's what happened as to why I lost.
Right. But parang looking back, that's in hindsight already.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it took time. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
even as I'm speaking right now, like, I'm not 100% okay. It's a big thing kasi, like, not to demean naman other local competitions, but local competitions happen quarterly or once a year. This one happens every 2 years. Every other year, diba? And it's the SEA Games.
Right.
So, for that, to just not nail it, diba? When I had the chance,
Right.
it kind of hurts.
You'll get him next time. Pero Daniel, you were mentioning something. Imbis na yung parang paramihan ng palo at that extra round. Parang pag ganun ba? When it...
I think what Jude was trying to say kasi is the match that you saw, yung format that she was sparring, diba, it's more of like a demonstration of superiority. So since it was declared a draw, meaning they couldn't see a difference, she wanted to present a clear difference. I'm hitting him and I'm not getting hit back. Kasi paisa-isa. As opposed to getting in there and getting all dirty.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit him once or twice, get out, move out, and then go back in, hit once or twice, get out. So kind of to make it kind of more distinct, more visually clean.
Right.
Which is how point system players usually spar. Yung nakikita mong paisa-isa lang. So I think that's what she was she was going for, parang to present a different style.
Altogether.
All right. Man, Jude Rodriguez is gonna get that Vietnamese girl pretty soon.
I hope she stays in my weight division. I'll see her in 2021. I'm kidding.
But of course, some more heartbreaks followed. Diba? Si Riza Giselle Sanchez, she just fell short of the gold. Again, parang Myanmar ba o Vietnam ang tumalo sa kanya? Parang it's always them na
Myanmar.
Spoiler parati yung Myanmar na yan. But parang I think the one of the highlights came parang final day when Mary Aline Aldeguer finally won that last gold. I think she was super emotional in her interviews na parang she was saying sobrang ito parang I'm reading a part of her interview, sabi niya pero sabi ko first time ko lang sa SEA Games, gagawin ko po yung best para sa family ko, sa bansa at sa mga sumusuporta sa akin. Parang for you girls, diba, after everything that all those the reversed calls, the slip ups, diba, and everything, just how emotional was that moment for Mary Aldeguer, for you, and for everyone else and the rest of the team, finally netting gold medal number 14?
I think it was bittersweet. To be honest, if I'm to talk from a personal perspective, it was bittersweet, diba? I mean, also why I wasn't able to reply then because
That's okay. We understand. We understand over here.
Kasi, we were still in Clark all the way until the 4th.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a really good thing na day by day from padded stick to anyo, like we could see the gold medals like adding up. Diba? One being added at a time. And it was really good. Kasi, okay, like this adds to the future of the team.
Right.
This makes everything worth it, like for the whole team, right? But then at the same time, like you can't help but be sad naman din. Kasi, as much as you want to be a team player, as much as you want to be all like, oh, it's for the good of Arnis, there's also that whole like, what about me, right? So that's why it was bittersweet.
Okay.
But then at the end naman, I was happy. I took my break. So now I'm okay. Ready to get back naman.
Fully understandable naman yun, Jude. Parang of course, that's a pretty, parang, it's a pretty how do I say it? But it's a devastating loss, diba? To just swallow and take in at once.
I think what was worse, I mean, the worst part about it was that it was with me that the Vietnam national anthem was played the first time. Because the past, I was the 6th player. Yeah. So like 5 times in a row kasi Philippine national anthem. And then the 6th, which was with me. So you can just imagine when I was standing at the on the podium, na parang, my God, I want to throw this plushie and like go away. Yeah.
Should have been lupang hinirang on the back.
And then, yun, I think that was what was really bad at the moment.
Yeah.
And then seeing coaches cry, you know, like, I mean, it's okay if I cried, pero teammates are crying, coaches were crying, my family was crying, my friends were crying. I mean, some teammates kasi, from Ateneo drove all the way there to support me. Yeah, so like they had these little banners pa eh. Pero, you know, like to see them like so down then. So, yeah.
You'll get him next time. I'm sure of that. We're sure of that over here.
For sure.
Diba? Pero, of course, you know, with the results of Arnis at the SEA Games, diba? I think this edition of the games, parang it really brought out the best sports where Filipinos can shine the brightest, diba? And in the end, it was Arnis that emerged as the sport that handed the Philippines the most gold medals with, yun nga, as we said, 14, along with 4 silvers and 2 bronzes. Pero, come to think of it, Daniel, if Arnis ended up at the top, the other gold medal-rich sports that delivered in the SEA Games happened to be martial arts. I'm talking about Taekwondo with 8. You got, well, it's a combat sport technically, but 7 from boxing, 7 from wushu, and jiu-jitsu earned 5 gold medals for the country. So parang, isn't that parang enough evidence, it's glaring evidence that for the Philippines to continue to perform well in international competitions, I'm talking SEA Games, Asian Games, Olympics, martial arts is the way to go, isn't it?
Definitely, I agree with that.
Diba?
I mean, there is clear evidence that we're pretty good at martial arts, not just with our own, but with all these different martial arts.
Right. But what is it like understanding the psyche of the Filipino martial artist now? And most of these sports that we mentioned, they all involve some sort of form of hand-to-hand combat, diba? Pero like, what makes, you know, parang for you, the Filipino martial artists excel when it comes to that, you know, form of fighting, diba? Form of, you know, discipline of martial art.
Well, I mean, I can only theorize, but I would say na maybe it has to do with like that whole. Kasi diba, we like to think of our ancestors as warriors.
Yeah.
Diba? So maybe it comes from there na parang we came from warriors and now, you know, we're thriving as fighters, as martial athletes, so to speak. Right.
And of course, parang not only that, no, parang Arnis ended up as, diba, the bigger winner, the sport itself, diba?
Yeah.
Parang yun nga, after 14 years, the national martial art just, you know, returned. That just came back in a huge way. And yun nga, as Jude was talking about earlier, parang Senator Zubiri has some parang good feedback from, I'm talking the Vietnamese and the Cambodians, that they want to host this and the 2021 games in Vietnam all the way to Cambodia in 2023. Diba? So parang just looking at that, parang Jude, this this particular SEA Games parang really became the launching pad for Arnis to continue it, diba? Its development in the region. And that's something you have to be super proud of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for the longest time, I mean, meeting you before, like around those times naman, parang the only future we had was, World Championships. So, to be able to see SEA Games materialize and actually happen, so it's something really big. It's a big milestone for Arnis and for PECAF as well.
Yeah.
So, if I'm not mistaken, kasi the goal is to make it to the Asian Games sometime within the next decade.
All right.
So, I mean, if that's the goal, if that's where we're headed, then this is a really good start.
Definitely. And then, of course, Daniel, with, of course, parang Jude and the rest of Team Pilipinas, Arnis, we want to retain our championship, diba? Pero we also like our neighbors like Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar to, parang stay competitive. Parang, do you see this like totally, increasing the level of competition very soon?
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, diba, parang it wouldn't feel very right to be dominating a sport that all these countries aren't really trying to excel in, diba? So, the more of a fight they put up, the better it is also for us because we'd all be pushing each other talaga.
Right.
And then the sport itself would, like really peak talaga. You'd really see the athleticism and all that.
Sure. And I think good news becomes great news because Jude's hometown, Cebu, is going to host the next edition of the
World Championships.
Possibly at July, no?
Yeah, around second, third week of July.
Okay. So, as a proud Cebuana, parang how excited are you for your parang this is the most fitting follow-up to the SEA Games,
it
diba?
Definitely is, yeah.
Parang ganun eh.
For me, especially, I think the experience of SEA Games made me hungrier. So, I mean...
Definitely after that.
Yeah. But not just for like local competition, but international competition. Because as much as it's a different taste kasi, to be able to fight with international contingent. So, to have that in 7 months, it's something that, like I'm really hyped up for.
Sure.
And not to mention, it's not just gonna be Team A na lang. Like, there's gonna be no distinction naman na. So, all of Team Pilipinas is just Team Pilipinas. And it's not just gonna be exclusive to us.
Right.
There are other Filipinos.
Right.
So, it's just gonna be a really long and taxing competition. But I'm excited.
Yun. And will Daniel Bernas make a return to the World Championships?
Well, like we were talking about earlier, maybe we can just go there and comment. I think that would be more fun.
Okay na. Pero Daniel, your final blow, before we end.
Sure.
From all the success that Jude and the rest of Team Pilipinas Arnis has gained from the SEA Games, parang where does this, lead Arnis for the long run for you?
Well, like what you were saying earlier, there was a lot of this SEA Games event, 2019 SEA Games. That was the launching pad talaga. It was really important that it turned out well because this would hopefully be the foundation for many more international events like these, SEA Games of Vietnam, SEA Games Cambodia, diba?
Right.
And hopefully, bigger events like that. So to see it do well, to see Filipinos respond well to it, nakikita mo sila nag-share and all that online, parang it's a good start and hopefully it really, puts the sport in a kind of, it shines a bigger spotlight on the sport.
Yun. And of course, Jude, before we end, maybe parang you could just, give your short message of appreciation lang, for everyone. He really supported you throughout this, from the preparation and throughout the tournament.
I think a really huge thank you to Senator Zubiri, because without him, none of this would be possible.
Of course, President of PECAF.
Yes. I mean, I know he's really busy, but then, I mean, if not, when we were at the Senate, the other senators were making fun of him because he was hardly there daw. But then they see that the reason why he was always absent was because he was focused on us.
Right.
So there's that. A really big thank you to the coaches. But even that, like, I've reached a national team level, I still want to say thank you to the Ateneo team and my coaches from the Ateneo team because it's where it all started. Yeah. I really can't deny that they were the ones who pushed me up.
Right.
So thank you to Ateneo team. Thank you to my barkada. So that's Danny, Tanel, and Kyla, Jordan, who's outside, Joaquin, Jacinto. Thank you guys, because you guys have always been there. Thank you to my family. I love you all. Okay.
And of course, Jude's furry friends.
Yes, I have 8 babies.
Ayun,
Yeah.
yun. And I think that wraps up our 2019 SEA Games rewind of Team Pilipinas Arnis' dominance, leading the way again for Pilipinas with 14 gold medals at the 2019 SEA Games. Of course, it's always glad to have Daniel Bernas, my batchmate over here, and of course our national team medalist Jude Rodriguez herself, saying goodbye, one big fight, and of course isang malaking pugay sa ating mga magigiting na Arnisador at Arnisadorang Pilipina and Filipino. Okay. Thank you all. See you all again next Wednesday, only here at Radyo Katipunan Sports. Peace. We out.
Welcome to the Rundown, where we take you right into the action with the latest sports news, updates, game previews, breakdown, and analysis in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. And now, let's get ready to run down!
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiding at tigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan.